Hail Internet! It's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We're here today talking about Star Wars Ahsoka, Season 1, Episode 7, Dreams and Madness. We open with Hera on trial for defying the Council's orders. She's saved from punishment by C-3PO, carrying a timely message from Leia, saying, essentially, oh yeah, I ordered Hera to CTOS, sorry I didn't mention it earlier, case dismissed. We end with Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra reunited at last on Peridia. Thrawn is called off his troops, and Ezra says, guys, I'm getting a feeling. I think I might be going home after all. Credits. So, that said, Paul, I'll say this, last week, commenter, Willie in the Wilderness, awesome name by the way, shout out to Willie. Willie tuned in, hoping, in vain as it turned out, that you'd give the episode a 7 or higher. Here we are at episode 7, in fact. I'm almost scared to ask, but Paul.
Yes?
Here's your chance to make Willie's day. What'd you think of episode 7?
What did I give it, a 6? What did I give last week? 6?
I think you gave a 6.5 last week, maybe.
5.5.
Oh, all right. You know what that is? That's in the realm of 7. You know what? I mean, that's in the same territory.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
A little tweak here, a little tweak there. 7.
Yep,
there you go.
Exactly.
Okay. Explain yourself, sir.
Yeah. So, man, I mean, I could start with the things that I liked.
Okay.
Some parts of that fight with those soldiers, whatever, coming to get Sabine and some parts of that I liked. I liked when Sabine and Ahsoka were like force messaging each other.
Okay.
Sabine.
Okay.
That gave me a little chill, actually. That surprised me because I was like, what? What are they doing? And I was like, ooh. So I guess that worked for me. Even if my brain was like, what are you talking about? But it's, certainly it's in the spirit of Star Wars,
Well, and also I'll say this, if I'm trying to write a way for Ahsoka to find them on the planet, you might as well go with she used the Force.
Yeah.
And then I just found them with the Force. Great.
Sure.
I believe it. You don't have to. That's great. Thank you. Yeah. That's how she found them. Okay.
Yeah. Thrawn there, his performance is still good, and his okay, well, we look at this, we moved all this stuff over while they're battling, so we're good. That worked for me, I guess. But otherwise, I was not enjoying it. I didn't like the dialogue. I didn't like, situations. I was, so many scenes were just like, oh my God, what is wrong? So many scenes that just did not feel worn. It needs so many more passes. That script.
I mean, given that this was the penultimate episode of the season, and usually those are like highlight episodes.
Sure.
I have to think back to like Game of Thrones so many times. It was like that second to last episode is the wow episode. Yeah. So I actually had higher expectations for this.
Fool!
I was like, you know what? I think they're going to really pull this off. Instead, it's arguably the worst episode of the season. I mean, probably not by a lot, but I'm tempted to give it a 5.5 as well.
It's funny. I feel like I'm the one who should argue with you whether that's the worst of the season.
Right.
If you looked at my ratings, I think maybe it does apply.
That's true. 5.5. I mean, I think there were a few entertaining moments. I'm going to give it a 6. I'll bump it to 6. But it was not. It wasn't as good as last week, for instance. Even it was not.
So
it was not
I'm
as good as
forced
6.
to give it a 5.5.
Yeah, that's right. Just to be lower. It met the lightsaber quota. Lightsaber battle per episode. Ding, check. You got it. And probably the action highlight was Ahsoka versus Balin.
It's like Ezra. Like, I don't need a lightsaber. I've got the Force. Okay, fine.
Well, jeez. What was great about that is here's a thing that I found funny about that. So okay, fine. He's using like these force pushes and telekinesis essentially to fight. Yeah. But then Because he's offered a lightsaber, and then Sabine offers him a blaster. He's like, I don't, just the Force. Cut forward a couple of minutes. He's got a blaster, and he's shooting guys. And I'm like, dude, if you've got a code, stick with the code. I'd like the code if he's like, you know what, I don't use weapons. I'm just going to use the Force to
he's
defend
no
myself.
Andy Griffith. You just see Andy doing that.
He's no Batman, whatever. He's like, oh, wait, there's a not your blaster, but this blaster. Boop, 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 boop. And he's just shooting guys left and right. I'm like, oh, okay. I just felt like it undermined that point of that thing of like, look, I'm not taking conventional weapons. I just use the Force. Oh, wait, there's a conventional weapon? Fine. Boop, 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 boop. Like, that was annoying to me. Pick a lane and then stick with it. I liked the Anakin training hologram. She mentions there are 20 of them.
That. I was like, what the
There's just going to be a set of those,
just,
so we're going to see more of those.
Put more in there. I guess all the more troubling aspects of his, past, because that was basically just her watching a clip of him, because it's something she had seen, so it's not even attempting to interact with her.
I appreciated it, and I would have appreciated it more in a vacuum. But I do feel like it was part of this giant series of nostalgia. Oh, because they did the Leia name drop. They had C-3PO. Even in the thing with Anakin, he name drops Count Dooku. He name drops Asajj Ventress, which is from the animated series. They throw out Gideon's name. They're just like, look, reference. You know these things. And like, okay, that doesn't stand in for plot.
No,
you can't just keep throwing.
But you like
this.
You liked seeing Anakin.
But I did, yeah. In it on its face in that moment, I was like, you know what? It's a reasonable way to introduce him in his relationship with Ahsoka, that she might have a training hologram that she uses, and he's there. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see that. I'm good with it.
For me, I would have preferred more problematic for her. I mean, the last time, there was some problematic aspects, I guess, when it was his presence, but now it's just, oh well. He's such a good teacher.
He was good once. I mean, it would be great if one of those videos that we, season 3, if there is one, if there's like, one of them's like, so when in doubt, just kill everyone you see. Yeah. I'm like, oh, there it is. Yeah. I missed that one.
Jedi save all life, unless they're kids.
Unless they're kids. I will say this episode, again, it felt the most like an episode of Rebels of any of the ones as far as the season, and that's not in a good way, really. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I was almost expecting one of those insipid commercial breaks that I'd have to sit through watching Rebels on Disney XD or whatever it was. It was like, we'll be right back to Rebels after these important messages. And it's like, hey, kids, it's the new Splash Blaster Neon Caster Fun Mountain. Some assembly required. Yay! Now back to Rebels. You're like, oh, God. My brain is falling out of my ears. But no, we didn't have to do that. They didn't do that in this, so that's good. But the tribunal scene, I thought it was poorly executed. Seemed pointless too. Like, is that a season 2 thing? I guess. I mean, the drama's happening on Peridea. That's where all of your main characters are. You're gonna waste 5 or 6 minutes of your penultimate episode to name drop Leia.
If you're gonna shoot your wad that way, make it good. That's all I say.
Right. That's a good point. I guess if it was a well executed scene.
Yeah.
But just didn't accomplish much.
And it's like the guy who's
I always choose the wrong thing. I'm an idiot or corrupt. The stakes weren't really that high. I mean, it was like, Hera, we're going to censor you. You're a colonel instead of a general now, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do? They weren't going to execute her or something. So it's like, nobody cares about this tribunal. So just the fact that they then shoehorn Leia in to save the day, okay. I mean, I suppose the only advantage, and it wasn't much of anything, was just the fact that Mon Mothma was talking to Hera, like, how sure are you Thrawn's coming? I'm pretty sure. Okay. Like, that's all you need. That was it. That was the entire, if you were talking about plot necessity, and it wasn't even a necessity, that's all you got out of that scene. And then, of course, C-3PO walks in. You're like, okay, you had an excuse for C-3PO to walk in. Come on. Get out of here. Why? What are you doing? So that was not the best way to start this thing. No.
And I didn't like the conversation between Ezra and Sabine.
Yes.
I mean, I like those. That's another positive thing. I like those devices that they were riding. I like those things.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting that the technology is similar to the turtle people. They have a turtle ship. Their ships go and they come around, so their own anatomy has gone into the design of their ships, I guess. So
that was pathetic when they were like chasing them down, and all they had were slingshots.
Like, it felt very Jar Jar Binksy in that way, or Ewoks, I suppose, would be better. Throwing rocks at stormtroopers. But yeah, so in that conversation, Ezra again, though, I'll give him credit. He asks the question again that he asked last episode: "How did you get here?" Mm-hmm. And she again's like, and then he follows up with, "Getting home is kind of important." Yeah. And then, knowing the clock is ticking, knowing their home galaxy's on the brink, she just continues with let's just hang out in the turtle caravan. It's just a massive character flaw that I think they're just going to paper over next episode with some kind of 30-second apology. She'll be like, "Look, I just didn't want to let you down." And they're like, "Oh, well, you're here now, and that's what matters." No! Her terrible decision-making matters. It should matter. And the fact that it doesn't is driving me crazy about this show. Come on! You're treating this like it's a misdemeanor when it is a major felony that she's committing right now. And if you don't somehow have stakes for that or make that consequential, it is a huge failure of the show. I'll just put it out there. Next episode, if she's like, "Hey, I didn't mean it. Here's the deal. I joined up with the other side temporarily, and I thought it was the best way to get to you. And oh well, I did everything you did." If they just let that go, it is. I will be coming back here going, I give this episode a 1.5. Or whatever I mean.
Wow.
I'm just saying, get ready. If they don't make it consequential, it will be the worst rating, no matter what else happens in the episode, that I give the finale.
Now I don't know if I wanted to do that. Hey, everybody, I gave it a 3, but Matt
it better
gave
matter.
It a 1.
That's all I'm saying.
5.
It needs to matter. All right. I think Thrawn also needs to be established as a greater threat. The threat posed by him is only really established by other material and other series. Way we see him here, he's got one aging ship. He's got a couple of witches that are helping him out. His tactics don't seem particularly brilliant. He's like, we lost a lot of men and ships, but we made Ahsoka waste time. So the episode was a deliberate waste of time. Got it. Okay. If his grand plan was to make her waste time, which, okay, granted, you're just trying to buy time till you can leave the galaxy. Fine. Okay. But why force her out of hiding then? You had her in this debris field, mention it. You know exactly where she is. The witches are like, oh, she's right there, circling, hiding in this debris field. Just leave her there. I mean, he fires on her instead, and then he's like, we brought her out of hiding. We forced her to reunite with that other powerful Jedi who defeated me 10 years ago. Just leave her out. If she wants to hide, let her hide.
I completely understand what they gained, except for they were storing something in an empty cargo bay or whatever.
Yeah, was it their troops?
Either their troops or something they were sticking in there.
Yeah.
They drew Ahsoka and Sabine and all of them away while they did that, and now they're ready to leave, and they're leaving. So,
But it also seemed, according to him, that part of his plan was thwarted because he didn't realize Balin would refuse to cooperate. And I'm like, why? Why didn't the brilliant tactician didn't consider that the mercenary Jedi hired by Morgan didn't do the job? I feel like the Moriarty, let's say if you're going to make the analog, would have had a better contingency plan than just at least it was a waste of time. No, come on now. It's wow, I didn't see that happening. Huh, Balin. Who knew? Oh, well. No, he's supposed to be I know 5 steps ahead. I calculated that even if Balin did something stupid, I would have this other backup plan. But no, he's just oh, lucky for us.
If this is leading up to a scene wherein Thrawn kills Balin.
Huh, interesting. I had not considered that. mainly because of their lack of proximity to each other. But yeah.
Well, I mean, we got a whole episode where they can get together. So
right. We see at the end. We see in here, Balin just basically walks off. He's said in earlier episodes that he hears something calling to him. Mm-hmm. We can assume it's something on the planet. He is our rejected Shin in this episode as well. So he's like, Shin, nice knowing you. Here's my last little bit of advice to you. You know, don't go too fast for victory, because if you're too aggressive, you'll lose, basically. And then he's off. And she the look on her face was kind of interesting. Like, wait, what? what? Okay.
Why did he even bother with Ahsoka, do you think?
Great point. He's like, this is unexpected. All right, let's fight. Why? You're right. Great point. Your mission theoretically is over.
You want to go down there? You want to go over there where your friends are? Not be with me, I think?
Yeah, fine. Okay. Yeah, you're right. He has no allegiance anymore to that cause. So, yeah, you're great point. Why even bother? You just be like, tip the cap, bow to her and walk off. Like, go. They're down there. So I feel like Balin, and you might be right. Well, why not have him come and confront Thrawn? Maybe I feel like he's going to confront something. He's going to discover something else on the planet, which will then somehow be either relevant or it'll be like a end credit type thing where it's in season 2.
Sure.
There's this other threat
somebody
that
else
Balin is uncovering.
Balin recast.
Right. It'll be we have the turtle people, the Noti. It'll be like giant Noti thing. Big turtle guy comes out. Oh, ho, ho, ho. I'm the lord of the turtle people. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I see out of it, as opposed to him coming back and being part of the fighting that will be going on inevitably back at the base. But yeah, this shoot. I was expecting a little better, and I was hoping for even better. Oh. And I didn't get either of those things. I was like, no. They got a lot to do, and assuming the episode is the same length as these others, or it's roughly 40 minutes, I still know how they're going to crank enough stuff in there to make it really, like, wow, that was great. Yeah. As opposed to just like, we finished things off. We tied a bow on things, move on. Yeah, shoot. That's all I can say. But, yeah, so there you go. If Sabine doesn't have consequences, get ready for a very low score from me next week.
-4.
That's right. So get ready, because we're coming back for the finale. And then right after that, I believe later in the week, in fact, is Loki Season 2, Episode 1. So we'll be checking in with that. Thanks as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
No problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye.